In this tutorial, we are going to record some expenses from 3 different vendors in QuickBooks Online for the sample company. We will also look at reports to see how these changes update the reports. By the end of this tutorial, you will know how to record expenses accurately according to the backup documentation. The entries into QB always have to be backed up by proper documentation. And you will also know how to use the category detail section and item detail section. And lastly, you will know how to confirm the changes to the report. We are going to start with the purchase from Tanya's nursery. And here's the receipt. The owner bought 2 things here, some bags of soil and rock fountain. And they used credit card, Visa card for the payment. And we are going to record this in QBO. And before we enter the expenses, let's look at the reports before we make any changes, and then we will come back to the report to confirm the changes. The first place we are going to look at is product and services. You can find the product and services in different ways, but one of the ways is to go from gear icon and then find product and services. Products and services refers to the items a business sells to a customer, either physical goods or services or both. Let's find the soil. Scroll down, and here's the soil. Note that there's nothing under quantity on hand because the owner is not tracking, so there is no quantity here. However, the purchase of the soil will be recorded as an expense on the P&L, which we will see later. For rock fountain, there is a quantity of 2 because the owner is tracking. Next, let's look at the inventory report so right now balance is $596.25. Let's also look at the P&L. For the item that is not being tracked, the item will be immediately expensed, so that means it will go to profit and loss. So for the soil, which the owner is not tracking, after we enter the expense for the soil, this amount should increase. After we enter expenses, we will come back to this and check how the changes update the report. Now that we have looked at the report, let's record some expenses. From the left navigation bar, go to plus new and under vendors, find expense and go ahead click. In the payee field, type Tanya's nursery. And payment account is Visa card. And payment date was September 20, 2025. Payment method is Visa. And the first item is soil, which the owner doesn't track. Therefore, it goes under category details. He paid $42. The next is rock fountain. Because the owner is tracking this as inventory, we will enter this item under item details. Then we will go back to the report to see how the expense entries update the reports. So we are back to products and services, and let's find rock fountain. It's now 3, it was 2. We enter expense for quantity 1, so the quantity total increased to 3. For the soil, it's listed here, but nothing has changed on the products and services because we are not tracking. Instead, we are going to look at profit and loss, refresh this page. So the plant and soil is $395.12. Let's look at the detail by clicking on it. And here you see $42 we paid with Visa card. And the expense increased from $353.12 to $395.12. One of the common challenges when entering expenses is figuring out which account the payment came from. Sometimes the receipt doesn't show that information. In real life, you will need to check with the business owner to confirm whether it was paid by cash, debit card, or credit card. Next, we will record a purchase from Hicks Hardware. And this is a memo the business owner left with you. The owner bought 10 pumps at $10 each, and the owner is tracking the inventory. And the purchase date is September 20, 2025. The payment was made with debit card. Before we record a purchase from Hicks Hardware, let's look at product and services again. And this time we're gonna purchase and record pump and see there is quantity on hand, 25 right now. So which means the owner is tracking this as inventory. So when we record expense, we will enter under item details section. So I have payee Hicks Hardware here, and because the owner paid with debit card, the payment account is checking, and payment date is September 20, 2025. And the owner bought pump. The quantity is 10, and it was $10 each, so total 100. And we are done recording the expense. So we will click Save and Close, and then we will look at product and services. Refresh the page. Now the pump, the quantity on hand is 35 instead of 25. The expense entry should increase inventory as well. And it's now $125.25. And when we look at the details, you will see it was paid by debit card, and then we purchased $100. Finally, let's record a payment to Palm Sites CPA for tax consulting services. On September 22, and the owner paid $200 using a debit card. We type Palm Sites and checking account is okay, and the payment date was September 22. Notice that the account and amount are already populated for us. This is because QBO pulls the prior entry when you select the same payee. However, this time, the amount is $200, and it was for tax consulting. And this is all we need to enter, so we are done. We will click and save and close. So once again, let's check the report. Because it was expense, right away we'll look at profit and loss, and we will find legal and professional fees. Click on that. And here is what we just entered. Palm Sites, tax consulting, and we paid with debit card, and amount was 200. So that is where it's recorded here. To wrap up, in this lesson, we recorded expenses from 3 different vendors. Remember to ensure expenses are recorded with appropriate supporting documentation. Every entry that goes into QBO should have valid backup documentation. Use category details for things you don't track as inventory. Use item details for things you track as inventory. Verify with the owner which account was used to pay for the expense if you are not sure. And finally, check how your purchases update the inventory balance to see what you do in QBO affects your reports. That's it. Thank you for watching, and I hope you find this material helpful.